Do you want to know how to speak sensually to a woman without sounding crude? Or how to guide a seductive interaction without making her feel pressured, or like she's crossed a line? Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, safely, gracefully, and irresistibly. I'm the founder of a method that helps men build deeper emotional connections with women. For years, I've had hundreds of men reach out to me with the same question. How do I spark attraction? How do I awaken a woman's sensuality without making her feel uncomfortable? Let me start with a story. When I was younger, most of my friends were men, and so I often found myself hearing what they said about women after dates. They'd talk about a woman being easy, or say she wasn't girlfriend material just because she opened up too soon. They laughed. They treated intimacy like a conquest. Those stories stuck with me. They made me close off. I became cautious, afraid of being judged, afraid of being hurt. I remember once it took me months to feel comfortable being intimate with a man, not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't feel safe. Then one day I met someone different. The first time we got close, he looked into my eyes and said, "This is my hand. This is yours. If I ever do anything that doesn't feel good, just tap my hand and I'll stop right away." I never had to tap his hand, and for the first time I allowed myself to go further, because I felt safe. I felt respected. I felt like I had permission to want and permission to stop without being judged. That's the most important thing for every woman. The feeling of safety, of being truly seen and accepted, especially when entering the vulnerable world of intimacy and desire. I want you to understand this because I've spoken to thousands of women, and I can tell you with certainty, every woman craves emotional freedom. She longs to express herself fully, to embrace her desires, her instincts, but only when she feels safe, free from judgment, and confident that her vulnerability won't be used against her. So the first, and perhaps most powerful, thing you can do is not to impress her with smooth lines or show off your confidence. The real magic lies in creating a space where she can be fully herself. No masks, no defenses, no need to be perfect. Imagine being the first person who gives her that sense of ease, the feeling that with you, she doesn't have to protect her image, hide her wounds, or bury her past. That even if she has a complicated history or made choices others didn't understand, you don't judge. You listen. You stay. Women are deeply emotional beings. They don't always want to be the strong one. They don't always want to be in control. Sometimes they just want a man who feels emotionally safe, so they can finally let down the armor the world has forced them to wear. A man who lets them breathe, instead of making them feel like they always have to hold it together to be loved. That feeling doesn't come from cheesy compliments or memorized seduction tricks. Comes from real presence. It's in how you look at her. Not just with your eyes, but with genuine attention and empathy. It's in how you make her feel like she can speak her mind without fear of being hurt. It's in the way she senses that you don't just desire her body, but you crave her truth, her wildness, her fears, her joy, her vulnerability. If you can be the man who makes a woman feel safe enough to be herself, you're already halfway to her heart, and yes, her body too. Because nothing awakens a woman's sensuality more than being deeply seen, fully understood, and wholly accepted. What she's looking for is not a hero. She's looking for someone real. The second secret? Slow down. Take small steps, gentle enough not to startle her, but sincere enough that she feels invited. Don't rush. And don't assume her hesitation means rejection. A woman's pause isn't always a no to you. Sometimes it's a not yet to her own fear. Many women carry old wounds, times they were misled, used, or hurt for trusting the wrong person. Some have been labeled, shamed, or called names simply for wanting to be authentic, to desire to be close. And some have simply never encountered anyone sensitive enough to hear the silence between their words, let alone the fears or longings they've kept buried. So your job isn't to bulldoze your way into her heart. It's to tread gently, patiently, like you're touching a worn but sacred door. Don't knock hard. Open it with your quiet presence, and a gaze soft enough to let her know, you're not here to take anything. You're here to invite her into something safe, where she chooses the pace, where her boundaries matter, until she's the one who wants to take them down. And if you do that, you'll be amazed. Amazed at the softness, the passion, the wild beauty she'll offer when she feels truly respected. Because when a woman feels free in her vulnerability, she becomes something extraordinary, trusting, deeply connected, irresistibly alive. Remember, true intimacy doesn't begin with action. It begins with safety. One of my clients recently told me a beautiful story. He's naturally shy, not great with flirting, definitely not the smooth-talking type. But on his second date with a woman, he decided to try something different. He looked at her gently and said, "You smell like lavender in a summer breeze. All I want to do is lean in and get lost in it." What made that moment powerful wasn't the words alone. It was the emotional weight behind them. That sentence, so simple, so elegant, wasn't about seduction. It was about presence. It was real desire expressed through beauty and care. And from that moment on, everything between them shifted. The conversation turned soft, magnetic. Not showy but deeply intimate. Each glance, each word carried warmth. A silent invitation. Like a prelude to music, drawing both of them into a private world where there was no awkwardness, no resistance. Only curiosity, attraction, and one shared rhythm. Eventually, they connected in the most natural way, no one pushing, no one pulling. Just two people drifting toward closeness like it was the most natural thing in the world. That's the power of knowing how to awaken the feminine in a woman. The part she often hides for fear of being judged or hurt. But when she feels safe, when you give her room to be real, the magic unfolds. She opens up, layer by layer. And if you're present, gentle, sincere, she'll open her body, her heart, her soul in ways she never has before. Never underestimate the power of subtlety and respect. Because when a woman feels truly safe, she becomes the most radiant, sensual, and honest version of herself. Not because you demanded it, but because she wanted to give it. But if things go the other way, if she feels pressured like she's expected to do something she's not ready for, if your energy is too fast, too aggressive, too centered on your own needs, if she senses the connection is one-sided, then something will happen. She'll shut down. Not with drama, but with quiet finality. She'll withdraw her gaze. Her softness. The fragile trust that had only just begun to bloom. And maybe, just maybe, you'll never get to see that feminine beauty again. At least, not in its truest form. Women don't retreat loudly. They retreat in silence. And once they do, you might never get the chance to come closer again. Remember this. For women, true sensuality isn't about bold moves or daring words. It's about feeling. Feeling seen. Feeling respected. Feeling like she's free to be herself. Without judgment, without pressure, without having to perform for your affection. When you give her that safety to breathe, to soften, to feel, everything else unfolds naturally. She'll speak more, laugh more, touch more. Not because you made her, but because she wants to. Because she feels invited, not coerced. And when a woman feels safe enough to fully express herself, emotionally, physically, that's when true connection happens. Not forced, not superficial, but full of passion, resonance, and honesty. I know this because I've lived that hesitation. I didn't always believe I had the right to feel free in my desires. But I've learned this. When someone makes you feel safe, really safe, you're willing to show the wildest, deepest, most passionate parts of who you are. And that's the kind of connection worth waiting for.